The abyss doesn't speak to everyone, only to those who listen. If you're ready to wake up, watch this. Silence. That's where it begins. You feel the weight of everything. The noise, the pressure, the endless scroll of other people's lives. But beneath that, something deeper stirs, a quiet, terrifying question. What's the point? You've chased goals, approval, love, and yet the emptiness follows like a shadow. This isn't depression. It's awakening. Most people never face the void. They drown it in distractions, like trends, dopamine. But the few who do, they find something extraordinary. They learn to walk the nihilist path, not to escape the emptiness, but to understand it. Because inside the void, meaning isn't given to you. You create it. You forge it. You become it. This is where it starts, your descent into nothingness, so you can rise with everything. Nihilism isn't the belief in nothing. It's the realization that everything you once believed might be an illusion. The rules, the meanings, the definitions of success and happiness that society sold you, they start to crumble. It's not madness. It's clear. When Friedrich Nietzsche said, "God is dead," he wasn't celebrating destruction. He was mourning it. Because when the old gods die, the gods of certainty, tradition, and control, you are left standing in the ruins, forced to become your own creator. That's the essence of nihilism. It's not about despair. It's about freedom. Freedom from fake values. Freedom from false purpose. Freedom from living someone else's script. But that freedom feels like falling, like standing at the edge of a cliff with no ground beneath your feet. And most people panic there. They grab onto anything. Money, status, validation, religion, ideology. They'll do anything not to feel the emptiness. But emptiness is not your enemy. It's a mirror. It shows you the truth, stripped of illusion. You start to see the game for what it is. Everyone pretends they know what they're doing. Everyone hides their fear of meaninglessness behind confidence, careers, and smiles. And you're not broken for feeling detached. You're awake. Viktor Frankl once said, "Those who have a why to live can bear almost anyhow." But nihilism begins when the why disappears, when all the old meanings collapse, and you have to face life without a map. That's when the true test begins. Because the question isn't, what's the meaning of life? It's this: can you live fully, even without one? Nihilism isn't a dead end. It's a doorway. The first step toward creating meaning that's real, not borrowed. The ones who survive it don't look for light at the end of the tunnel. They become it. Once, meaning was handed to us. Family, faith, community. You were born into a story that already had a place for you. But then we outgrew the story. Science replaced myth. Technology replaced tradition. And freedom, that beautiful word, became a curse we didn't know how to carry. You can be anything, they said. But what they forgot to mention was, when you can be anything, you often end up being nothing. Modern life promised connection, but delivered distraction. It promised individuality, but sold us brands. We build a world so loud that silence feels like a threat. We scroll past wars, laughter, deaths, and dreams, all in the same feed, and then wonder why nothing feels real anymore. We chase numbers, followers, views, money, as if they'll fill the void. But meaning doesn't come from addition. It comes from alignment. We've mistaken stimulation for purpose. And when the noise fades, we're terrified of what's left. The quiet truth that maybe we've built our lives on sand. Carl Jung warned us about this. He said modern man is hopelessly unconscious of how much his rationality has robbed him of his humanity. We've become efficient, but empty, productive, but lost. We measure our worth in output, not in being. We've learned how to make everything faster, except peace. And so, when the silence finally catches up, at night, when the screen goes dark, that's when the real confrontation begins. Not with the world, but with yourself. The nihilist doesn't run from that silence. He studies it. He walks into the chaos of modern meaninglessness and asks, what if this emptiness is not a problem, but an invitation to build something deeper, something not sold, not taught, not borrowed, but earned. Because when modernity broke meaning, it didn't destroy it. It just handed the power back to you. And now, it's your turn to define what's worth living for. There's a moment every awakened mind must face. A collapse so silent, yet so complete, that it leaves you standing in the ruins of everything you once believed. Nietzsche called it the death of God. Not the death of religion, but the death of certainty. The collapse of every structure that told you who you are. What's good? What's evil? What's real? When that dies, you're left staring into something darker than fear. The abyss. And here's the truth no one tells you. Most people never look long enough. They flinch. They distract themselves. They find new idols. Success, ideology, fame, and kneel again. But the rare ones, the few who dare to keep staring, they don't fall. They transform. Nietzsche warned, beware that when you fight monsters, you do not become one. For when you gaze long into the abyss gazes back into you. He wasn't talking about monsters outside of you. He meant the one that lives inside. The part of you that whispers, you're nothing. You're lost. You'll never matter. That voice is not your enemy. It's your mirror. And if you have the courage to look, to stand still in the face of that whisper, something extraordinary begins to happen. It's not just acceptance. It's a radical embrace. It's saying, I don't just tolerate what happens to me. I choose it. Every wound, every loss, every failure. You start to see them not as punishments, but as teachers. You stop asking, why me? And begin asking, what is this trying to make me become? That's the turning point. When pain stops being an obstacle and becomes your sculptor. Jung said, no tree can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. To rise, you must first be willing to descend. To face the darkest parts of yourself without denial or shame. The world tells you to heal by forgetting. But real healing comes from remembering, from facing what broke you, and rebuilding in full awareness of every scar. When you walk the path of a more fatty, you stop waiting for the universe to hand you peace. You become peace in motion, in chaos, in pain. And suddenly, the small things change. You no longer need validation. You no longer fear being misunderstood. You stop chasing happiness because you've discovered something stronger. Meaning. Meaning is heavier than happiness. It demands responsibility. It asks you to carry your life like a sacred burden and still say, I love this. That's the essence of rebirth. Not escaping the dark, but learning to see through it. You are no longer the victim of fate. You are its collaborator. Every moment, even the painful ones, becomes raw material for creation. And when you start living like that, with your scars visible and your purpose self-forged, you no longer need to chase power. You embody it. This is the beginning of your rebirth. The moment you stop running from the fire and realize you are the fired. There's a question Nietzsche once asked, one so powerful that it can split your soul in half. He called it the thought of eternal recurrence. He said, imagine this. What if, right now, a voice whispered to you that you would have to live this exact life again, and again, and again, forever? Every joy, every regret, every sleepless night, every mistake you've ever made. Nothing erased, nothing changed, just you, repeating it endlessly. Would you curse that voice? Or would you whisper back, yes? That is the test. The moment where all philosophy becomes personal. Because if you can look at your life, in all its imperfection, all its chaos, and still say yes, then you've transcended nihilism. You stopped asking for a perfect world and started building meaning in a broken one. That's the secret most people never grasp. Your life doesn't need to be ideal, to be sacred. When you live as if you'd repeat every moment forever, you stop waiting for permission to live deeply. You stop postponing your purpose until it's convenient. You stop running from the present because you've realized it's all you'll ever truly have. Eternal recurrence isn't a curse. It's a challenge to live in such a way that you'd be proud to live it again. It's the antidote to meaninglessness because it forces you to stop existing like a spectator and start living like a creator. Every choice becomes sacred. Every moment becomes deliberate. That's the power of awareness. That's what it means to walk the nihilist path. not to escape the emptiness, but to use it as a mirror for truth. And when you live this way, you stop needing external validation. You stop searching for more, because everything you need is already here, in this moment, if you have the eyes to see it. Frankl once wrote, "Between stimulus and response, there's a space. In that space lies our power to choose. And in that choice lies our growth and our freedom." That's the essence of this test. That's where lasting change is born, in the space between your suffering and your response to it. When you meet that space with awareness, your entire reality transforms. You are no longer the product of your past. You are the architect of your eternal return. So ask yourself, if this moment were to echo for eternity, would you be proud to relive it? If not, change it, because the power to do so has always been yours. You've walked through fire. You've stood face to face with the void. And somewhere along the way, you stopped asking life for meaning and started giving it meaning. That's what this path is. It's not for everyone. Most people spend their lives avoiding this feeling. The emptiness, the uncertainty, the quiet ache that asks, "Why am I here?" But not you. You didn't run. You looked straight into it. And because of that, something inside you has shifted forever. You've learned that meaning is not a gift from above. It's a decision made below, in the dirt and blood of daily life. It's forged through action, through discipline, through pain, through creation. When you stop begging the universe for purpose, you realize you already have the tools to build one. Your suffering becomes raw material. Your mistakes become teachers. Your silence becomes fuel. That's the paradox. The darker you go, the more light you carry back. Now, I want you to remember something. You don't need to fix your entire life at once. You don't need a grand plan or divine clarity. You just need to take one honest step. Today, here's your practice. When this video ends, don't scroll. Don't run back into the noise. Sit in silence for 60 seconds. No music, no distractions, just you and the echo of your thoughts. Ask yourself one question. If I had to live this exact day again, forever, what would I change? Whatever answer rises, that's your direction. Follow it, because the point of awakening isn't to escape the world. It's to engage with it completely, consciously, brutally alive. Every conversation, every decision, every breath, it's all a test, not of strength, but of awareness. Can you stay awake when the world tempts you to fall asleep again? Can you keep walking when comfort calls your name? Can you carry meaning through chaos? Not perfectly, but deliberately? If you can, then you've already passed the test. Because walking the nihilist path doesn't make you cold. It makes you real. So, before you leave this moment, write in the comments, what is one truth you've discovered about yourself tonight? And if this message found you when you needed it, subscribe. Stay close. Because every week, we go deeper. The abyss was never here to break you. It was here to reveal you. Now step forward. Eyes open. Heart steady. You've earned your meaning. Now live it.